Hey guys, Mr. K here, and we are just chugging right along. We are going to continue reading 68 Ways to Save the Planet Before Bedtime. And we're going to get all the way to number 68 now, so we're going to hear all of them. So that's what we're doing. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it. All right, so today, we're going to ask and answer questions to demonstrate understanding of key details. And by that, I mean we're going to look at it, we're going to read it, and we're going to ask a question, and then we're going to answer our own question with what we read. So we read the book, ask a question, and then we answer that question. We're also going to identify the main purpose of a text, right? The main reason. So you guys remember doing central message, right? Where we looked at key details, right? And we figured out what we are supposed to learn, right? So this is similar to that, right? It's a different type of text. We're trying to find the main purpose. And the main purpose is, what does the author, what does the writer want us to learn from this book, right? What's the reason they wrote this book? That's the main purpose. So let's jump right into it. All right. Number 45, page 16, see the world by bike. Every time you get into a car to go somewhere, you add to global warming. That's because car engines release a greenhouse gas called carbon dioxide. So one good way to save the world is to stop being driven around by cars. Bring a bike. Bikes are way better than cars for loads of reasons. The main reason is they don't let out greenhouse gases. Oh, and they don't get stuck in traffic jams either. A bike can take you practically everywhere. The next time you plan to go somewhere, think, can I go by bike? Top tip, remember to wear a helmet and make sure your mom and dad know where you are going. Number 46, use human power. If you don't have a bike, how about skateboarding? Walking? Rollerblading? 47, hop on the train or bus. If it's raining, go by a train or the bus. They burn less fossil fuels per passenger than cars. 48, the walking bus. Ask your school to start a walking bus if you can't cycle to school. 49, give someone a lift. If you and your friend are going to the same place, get your mom or dad to give your friend a ride. That means only one car makes the trip, not two. Roll up the windows. If you do travel by car, try not to open the windows too much. Cars run better with the windows closed. Go slow on long car journeys. Ask the driver to travel at 55 to 65 miles per hour. Most cars use less fuel at this speed. And number 52, plan a day out. The next time you plan a family trip, go somewhere you can get to by train, by bus, or on foot. Page 18, love a library. Help save the world by reading books. As long as they're not brand new copies, that is. Instead, get them from a library. That way fewer books need to be made. Recycling paper is good. Much of the recycling comes from people's homes as paper. It comes from books, newspapers, magazines, and packaging, and it's all taken away and turned into new paper. Recycled paper is much better for the planet than non-recycled paper. But using less paper is still better. Even recycled paper harms the planet. Making it still produces pollution and adds to global warming. So whenever possible, try to use less paper. Top tip. You can find more than just books at the library. They also have magazines, newspapers, and computers you can use. Double it. Use the back of sheets of paper, not just the front. Start a book group. Share books with your friends, especially this book. Make your own scrap paper pad and use it for notes and messages. Reuse newspapers. Make your own paper plates. Tear up old newspapers and soak them in water and then press the paper onto a plate and wait for it to dry. Perfect for using more craft activities. New ideas. While you're riding the bus to the library, remember we're riding the bus now? Maybe you can come up with some other paper-related ways to save the world. Always be thinking. 59. Be a role model. Many people come from a time when no one really bothered much about saving the world. This is not their fault. Hardly anyone knew back then that the world needed to be saved. How can I make a difference? You are different. You have lots of ideas about saving the world. Don't be selfish. Share what you know. After all, lots of people acting in the same way can make things a lot better. Spread the word. Why not start with your school? Think about the things you would like to do differently. Speak to your classmates and teachers. Can you spread the word and make a difference? Best fact. When Earth Day was first celebrated on April 22nd, 1970, just one country took part. By 2010, it was celebrated in 175 countries. Top tip. Remember to ask before changing anything at school. All right. Save the world today. I would like more places to put bikes, monthly trading of clothes and toys, recycling bins in every class, walking buses, and a get to school without a car day. Hold a waste test. Ask if you can monitor the school bins before they're collected. Could you reduce the amount of garbage? Celebrate. Why not get your school to celebrate Earth Day? Get sponsored. Do a sponsored walk, swim, or cycle for an environmental charity. Be a green author. Make a green book, like this one. Explain to other children what they can do to help save the world. Change a friend. Don't switch friends. Just persuade one friend to do an activity from this book. Look back. Go through the book. Which activities can you do in school? Green days. Start a green diary. Record all the things to do to help save the world. Think differently. One day, a cave woman looked at her husband dragging a load of firewood back to their cave. I wonder if there's a better way of doing that, she thought. A week later, hey, presto, wheels. How can we change things? Things only change when someone wonders why things are the way they are and whether they could be better. Great news. You've already started to think differently by reading this book. Things only change when someone wonders. Why not keep a note of your questions in your green diary? Go back and look at idea number 66. And the last one, number 68. Ask it. What question will you ask today? Why things are the way they are. So using examples from the text, think about and discuss. What is the question you had about page 16? What was the answer? What is the most interesting thing you learned about on these pages? Page 16, see the world by bike. Now, when I saw this, the first thing I wondered was, how can a bike save the world? That's weird. I mean, I have a bike and I ride bikes from time to time, but I've never seen one save the world before. But it says very clearly in here, bikes are way better than cars for loads of reasons. So bikes, they use less greenhouse gases. So my question was, why are bikes better? And the answer was because they use less greenhouse gases. They use less pollution. What was the most interesting you learned about on these pages? Well, to be honest, there's a lot of things that are really interesting on these pages that we learned. I mean, everything from using different ways to travel, like bicycles and buses and trains, or going to the library, And one of the big things is asking questions. That's something I thought was really interesting. Just asking questions, asking people questions gets them thinking, gets you thinking, and everyone starts talking and figuring out a solution, figuring out how to save the planet before bedtime. So on page 16, we had carbon dioxide, right? It's a gas in the atmosphere, and it's one of the gases that contribute to the greenhouse effect. See right here. That's because car engines release a greenhouse gas called carbon dioxide. All right, traffic jam. Now, you guys might not experience traffic jams that much, but if you talk to your parents about them, I'm sure they have a few words to say. This is a long line of vehicles stopped in a road due to factors such as construction or congestion. So when there's too many cars on the road, they tend to go really slow, and it's really difficult to go where you want to go. Right here. Oh, and they don't get stuck in traffic jams. Bikes don't get stuck. Pollution. The introduction of harmful substances into the environment. So you can see all that smoke coming out of that factory. That's all pollution. And here we have, on page 18, making it still produces pollution that adds to global warming. And cave woman. Cave woman's a compound word. Remember? It's like cave woman, boom. You guys remember that? Compound words. That's two different words pushed together to make a new one. Cave woman. It's a woman that lives in a cave. Right? One day, a cave woman looked at her husband, dragging a load of firewood back to the cave. All right, so you guys remember this, right? We did this for central idea, central message. But now we're going to find out the main purpose, right, of the story. So we're going to find 4 key details, and we're going to figure out the main purpose. Remember, the main purpose to a text like this is an informational text. Is why did the author write it? What was the reason the author wrote this story for us? So we're going to key detail, key detail, key detail, key detail, main purpose right there in the middle. So let's take a look at page 16 now. Remember when we asked ourselves this question, right? We're like, well, why are bikes so important, right? How can bikes save the world? And so by asking this question, I figured out one of the key details, right? And I figured out that bikes use less greenhouse gas. So one of my key details is using a bike creates less greenhouse gases, because I asked a question and I found my answer. Oh, so the next one, love a library. Well, what's the point of loving a library, right? All that's in there is a bunch of dirty old books, right? How does that help? Well, if you're reading those books, right? That means less books are being printed, which means less paper being made, which means less pollution in the air. All right, so we ask the question, why go to a library? We find the answer, because you can save paper by sharing books. You can save paper by sharing books with the library, with your friends, with everyone. Use less paper by borrowing books from the library. So now this is what I want. So we already did 2 key details, right? So I want you to find 2 more key details and the main purpose. So what that looks like, just like with the central message, detail, 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 main purpose. All right, so it's up to you guys. Have a good day.